It was ugly, right? I think that goes without saying. It was brutal. It was terrible to watch. It wasn't fun. There was nothing about it that was entertaining, really. Except for maybe the Zay Jones touchdown. That was cool. Good for the kid. But should you be freaking out about it? Should you spend the entire game ending the season or the 3 days after ending the season? No. Now, I don't know how many of you are from around here or, maybe just don't or watch hockey or whatnot, but the Sabres, reason to be upset. They look bad on a consistent basis. Their defensemen aren't good. They just give up so many shots on shots. Teams just hold possession in their zone for feels like minutes at a time, and they just look like amateurs out there. They honestly do sometimes. At least some of their defensemen do. They have a couple good players, but anyway, that's reason to freak out. I understand people who are getting upset about the Sabres because they've been bad for a while and they're supposed to, who's this on? Whose fault is this? They've been... No, I'm going to come back to the Bills, sorry, but I just kind of got log jammed there in my train of thought. They tanked. What a lot of people feel like the Bills should have done but didn't do. And they can't get out of the tank. The Bills, they've been bad a long time. But in the short term, in this season, they really haven't been. They've been pretty good. They got a new coach. They've got a new general manager. They got rid of the, like I said, the doofuses sort of that were running it before. Or the Rex Ryan. Not that Doug Whaley didn't entirely know what he was doing, but Rex Ryan was just like I said last week, just kind of a doofus. Like a joke. The Bills were kind of looked at like a joke when they hired him. Hey, good job, Bills, you brought in Rex Ryan. And I brought this up before. And then it's kind of like when we looked away, they were like, can you believe the Bills hired Rex Ryan? Losers. They were right. But it feels like we got it right with McDermott and Bean. And for the most part of the season, the Bills haven't been bad. Just because they were bad on Thursday doesn't mean they're going to be bad for 8 more games or 8 more years. Stop ending the season because of one game. It happens. On October 9th, I sent out a tweet that said, I think any conversation with the Bills making the playoffs started with 3-2 at the bye week and maybe 5-3 at the halfway point. And I think they got a really good shot at getting to 5-3. This is when they were 3-2. And I got a reply that said, do you think they lose to Oakland or Tampa? And I said, well, honestly, I think they can win both. But this is football and things happen. They did beat Oakland and they did beat Tampa. But they lost to the Jets. Like I said last week, I didn't expect the Jets to be a tough out. And I don't know why I picked them to win, the Bills to win. Because it just seemed like the writing was sort of on the wall there. Thursday Night Football gets crap like this all the time. And the players don't like it, the coaches don't like it. And then the fans, we get all excited for it. Oh, God, Thursday Night Football. And then we watch it and we're like, what am I doing? I do it every week. Every week. I'm like, oh, Thursday Night Football's on. I'm like, yes. And then I'm watching it and I'm like, this is terrible. And it just happened to be my own team. And now, granted, I know that 2 teams go through this. The Jets had the same circumstances as the Bills. The Bills had to travel. It's only an hour flight. But it just looked like the Bills either got off the plane and expected to win or just straight up, flat out didn't show up. And the Jets did. That's a problem. Yeah, is it a problem? Yes. But it could be a short-term problem. I trust Sean McDermott to get this team up. It sucked that he couldn't. It's his first Thursday night game. It's his first short week as a head coach. I'll let it go. I'll let it go as a fluke. You should too. Just stop creating these fake obstacles for them to overcome. I can't stand it. It's well, they can't win unless they do this, or unless they cut down on the penalties, or if they're not going to be able to win without throwing for 300 yards or whatever. That's wrong. None of that is correct. You don't have to do any of those things. You just gotta score points, and you don't have to throw for 300 yards to do that. You don't have to be first in the league with fewest penalties. I mean, Seattle takes a bunch of penalties all the time. They're going to the playoffs. Trust me, promise you, they're going. Oakland set some sort of NFL record for penalties last year. They still made it. I'm just using that as an example. You just create these, like I said, fake obstacles that like the Bills have to jump over in order to become a playoff team. That's not correct. They're only one of 3 teams that has to play New England twice. That sucks. That puts them behind the 8 ball all the time. Like that's part of it. But like there's no fake obstacles for them to overcome. All the obstacles are real. They're the New England Patriots. They're just, hey, be one of the best 6 teams in the conference, or best 5, knowing that New England's going to be every year. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm writing this off as a fluke. I don't need to. I'm not even really going to go over it. It was only 10-7 at halftime. People were still freaking out. But I'm like, and then the wheels came off. But like, I'm not even really going to go over it. The Bills, they gave up 194 yards rushing, and that's what they've been good at all season. They weren't tackling well. They weren't blocking well. They weren't rushing the quarterback well. Nothing was going on. They turned the ball over 3 times. They fumbled it. Jordan Matthews bounces the ball off his own arm and fumbles. Nick O'Leary gets touched 99 out of 100 times on that play, but doesn't that time and gets up and gets stripped. Like, come on. It's just that kind of night. It was a curb stomping, no doubt, but it was just that kind of night. And those things happen. This is football. This is sport. It doesn't just happen in football. It sometimes just matters more because there's only 16 games. The Cleveland Cavaliers got but they lost to the Atlanta Hawks at home the other night. And like the Atlanta Hawks are one of the worst teams in basketball. Like, but and granted, Cleveland has LeBron James. They won a championship, but like they're not freaking out. They're not ending the season. The Kansas City Chiefs just lost to the Cowboys. They've lost 3 out of 4. They're starting 5-0. Are they burying their season? I doubt it. Should they? Oh, same old Chiefs. We're just going to go to the first round and lose. Maybe. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Like, it could be. Doesn't mean they're the same team because they lost to the Dallas Cowboys on the road. Like, and I know that people are like, well, it's the Jets. Well, the Jets are better than you think they are. Just because somebody, like 6 months ago, said the Jets were going to be really bad doesn't mean that, because they said the same crap about the Bills too. And the Bills are better than everyone thought they would be, including us. So, I'm writing it off. The Bills now have this extra rest coming in next week against the Saints. And I think it favors them. The Bills have extra rest. The Bills just got stomped out. The Saints were at home. They're coming on the road for the first time in 3 weeks. And they kind of stomped out Tampa Bay. They were up like 30-3, and they ended up winning 30-10. I think it's unlikely that you beat somebody down 2 weeks in a row. I think it's unlikely that a team gets beat down 2 weeks in a row, especially when the one is going on the road and the other one's coming back home with extra rest. I seriously think it favors the Bills. Despite the fact that the Saints have won 6 in a row, the Bills have won 4 in a row at home. I mean, something's got to give there. You know the Saints are going to get their 350 yards. They've done it in every game but 2, and then they had 344 and 347 in the other 2, so like, they're good. Here's a perfect example. The Saints. They gave up over 1,000 yards in their first 2 games to Minnesota and New England. 470 to Minnesota, 555 to the Patriots. Did they mail it in? No. Granted, they have Drew Brees. There's a counterpoint for everything. I get that. But they're not mailing it in. Since then, they've only allowed over 300 yards 2 times. They've only allowed over 156 yards passing 1 time. It was to Matt Stafford. And they were up 45-10 in that game. They've been good. I'm going to give them their due. They've been good. But I don't know what it is. I got a good feeling about this game for the Bills. I had a bad feeling about the Jets game, and I picked them anyway. And I was stupid on my part. And trust me, I have no effect on the game. I know I picked the Bills to beat the Bucs, and they won. So forget that. So forget the opposite happening. I did pick them to lose to the Raiders, and I'm over the last 2. I did pick them to lose to the Raiders, and they beat the Raiders. I picked them to beat the Jets, and they lost to the Jets. And I think I picked them to beat the Bengals, and they lost to the Bengals. And I think I picked them to lose to the Falcons, and they lost. Like, here we go. Now I'm going back, and now you guys are making me think. Now I'm curious. But I was right 2 weeks ago, and that's all that matters. So it's not all like that. Anyway, Drew Brees has been historically sort of a different quarterback on the road or outside of the dome. I know that maybe point has been exaggerated a little bit, over the past couple of seasons. But the Saints haven't played on the road in 3 weeks. The last time they did was against Brett Hundley and the Green Bay Packers. And if you watched Monday Night Football, you saw that the Packers don't really let Brett Hundley throw that much until it's over. Then they beat the Bears at home, and the Bears don't really let Trubisky throw at all. So, and they only won by 8. Then they beat a division rival. And now here, McDermott knows them, and granted, they know McDermott too. So that, I get that. That can work 2 ways there. I just think that McDermott knows his team. He's coached against him twice a year for a lot of years now. I'm looking at it, I kind of know this team. I'm researching all the stats. Like, this is what you have to look out for. Drew Brees has never thrown a touchdown in Buffalo, by the way. He's played against 31 NFL franchises on the road. He's never played against the Saints on the road, even when he was in San Diego, never did. Again, on the road. He's played against 31 NFL franchises on the road. The only team he's never thrown a touchdown against on the road is the Bills. He has 2 games against the Bills on the road. He's 1-1. He's thrown for a total of 320 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. 2 games at home against the Bills. He's thrown for 671 yards, 9 touchdowns, and no picks, and he's 2-0. So there you go. I mean, the weather's going to be around 40. Like that, the Saints really are. They're not used to that at all. I mean, it's a test. It's a test for them. That's really all I can describe. It'll be a test, and we know what they like to do. Like anybody can look at what the numbers look at what they like to do. They've been better at running the ball. Ingram looks okay. Alvin Kamara, stud, total stud. They've been catching the ball out of the backfield. The running backs average about 10 targets per game from Drew Brees, and then they dink and dunk with Kamara and stuff. So the linebackers come up. Then Ted Ginn takes over. He only averages about 4 or 5 targets a game, and Michael Thomas, he averages about 9 targets a game. So that's what you're looking at. That's what you're dealing with. Fleener, Josh Hill, the tight ends, only about a combined 4 targets per game. You don't really have to worry about them. Fleener's a target in the red zone, sure, but like you know that Kamara and Ingram and Michael Thomas and then Ted Ginn is a deep threat. Brandon Coleman also there. He's a decent player. He's only caught like 14 passes, but 3 touchdowns, so he's a deep threat. On defense, Cameron Jordan has 7 sacks, I believe. A.J. Klein, who McDermott coached last year in Carolina, is there. Marshawn Lattimore, who could win Rookie of the Year. Tre'Davious White's up there too, but Lattimore's been good. Kenny Vaccaro. They're good. They've got a good team. They got a good team. They're 6-2. They won 6 in a row. So, like I said, I'm going to give them their due. But I still think the Bills are a good team. I'm not saying the Bills are better than the Saints. I think on Sunday, though, they might be. Because they're getting healthier. I don't know. I think Corey Glenn will be okay to play. I don't really know about Zay Jones. Dirtbag play by Buster Screen, by the way. Almost ends Zay Jones' season because he's bad. Like, Buster Screen is so bad at football that he almost took it upon himself to end another player's season. Screw him. But with Benjamin now, and Charles Clay, and then Zay Jones and Jordan Matthews in the slot and LaShawn McCoy, they can run that 11 personnel, that like 1 tight end, 1 running back, because they don't use the fullback a ton anyway in DeMarco. But it's a threatening 11 personnel. That's the difference. Before, you didn't have Benjamin. You had Andre Holmes and Zay Jones and Jordan Matthews, and Clay's been gone. Clay still leads the Bills in receiving yards after playing only 4.5 games. Hilarious. It was O'Leary. So teams were like, well, let's just take away McCoy. He's not going to really throw it to the receivers. He hardly ever does anyway. And they still might do that. They still might dare him to throw it to Benjamin and Jones and Matthews. So it's on Tyrod a little bit to take control of that. But he's got Charles Clay back. They know he likes throwing to Charles Clay. He has done it a lot over the first, when Charles Clay's been in the lineup, even dating back to last season, the end of last season. So teams won't necessarily be able to just focus on McCoy because Clay is there, who he likes as a threat. And now he's got another outside threat in Benjamin. It might open up things for Matthews and Jones. So I'm going to pick the Bills. Fight me if you're mad. Fine, fight me. I'm picking the Bills to win. I think it'll be close. The Saints are favored by 2. Let's go with let's score touchdowns. So 27-24 Bills. Lock it up. Guys, let me know how you're thinking. If you're still mad about last week, fine, let's talk about it. But overall, enjoy your weekend. And above all else, as always, go Bills.